The old mining station floated in the darkness of space like a forgotten tomb. Its lights had died many years ago. Its hallways were cold and empty. Nobody came to places like this anymore. Nobody except men like Han Tae-Wu. Han moved slowly through the broken corridors, his flashlight cutting through the dust that floated in the air. His magnetic boots clicked against the metal floor with each step. He was looking for anything valuable. Old computers, power cells, spare parts. Anything he could sell to survive another month? Tae-Wu, I am detecting something strange, said Gina, his AI companion. Her voice came from the small device strapped to his wrist. There is a life signature approximately 200 meters ahead. Han stopped walking. A life signature here? Yes. It is weak but definitely alive. I recommend we leave immediately. Han stood in the darkness and thought about this. Gina was right. The smart thing was to leave. Finding a living person in an abandoned station meant trouble. It could be a trap. It could be a criminal. It could be something much worse. But Han had never been very good at doing the smart thing. Show me where, he said. This is a mistake, Gina replied. But she displayed a small map on his wrist screen anyway. Han followed the map deeper into the station. The hallways became more damaged as he walked. Walls had holes in them. The floor was covered with broken glass and twisted metal. Something terrible had happened here. But Han did not know what. After 10 minutes of walking, he found an escape pod had crashed through the wall of the station. It was small and shaped like a teardrop. The metal was black and burned from entering the atmosphere of some planet before drifting here. Strange symbols were carved into its surface. Han did not recognize them. The life signature is inside, Gina said. Tae-Wu, those symbols are Valari. This is a Valari escape pod. Han felt his blood go cold. The Valari were the most powerful aliens in the known galaxy. Their empire controlled thousands of worlds. Their technology was hundreds of years more advanced than anything humans had built. And they looked at humans the way humans looked at insects. Small, weak, not worth caring about. Han had heard stories. Valari ships destroying human colonies for flying too close to their space. Valari soldiers killing humans for looking at them wrong. The Valari did not see humans as people. They saw them as animals. Every part of Han's brain screamed at him to run, but the life signature was getting weaker. Well, how long until they die? Han asked. Based on the readings, approximately 15 minutes. Maybe less. 15 minutes. Han could leave right now. He could walk back to his ship and fly away and pretend he never saw this. Nobody would ever know. Nobody would ever blame him. He walked to the escape pod and forced open the door. Inside, lying on a small bed, was a female Valari. Her skin was silver, like liquid metal. Her hair was long and white, spread around her head like a halo. She wore clothes made of fabric Han had never seen before, covered in golden patterns. A deep wound cut across her stomach, and dark blue blood had soaked through everything. She was dying. Han looked at her face. She was beautiful in a strange and alien way. Her features were sharp and elegant. Even unconscious, she looked proud. She looked like someone important. On the wall beside her, a symbol was burned into the metal. Han did not know what it meant, but it looked like a crown. She is royalty, Gina said quietly. That is the mark of the Valari imperial family. Tae-Wu, this changes nothing. We should leave her. Han did not move. If you save her, you will use all of your emergency medical supplies. Those supplies are worth 3 months of work. And she is Valari. She will not thank you. She will probably try to kill you when she wakes up. Han still did not move. Are you listening to me? I'm listening, Han said. He reached down and carefully lifted the Valari female into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. I'm just not agreeing. He carried her through the broken hallways of the station, back to where his ship waited. His ship was old and ugly. He had named it the Rust Bucket, because that was exactly what it looked like. But it had a medical bay, and right now, that was all that mattered. Han laid the Valari on the medical table and began working. He cleaned her wound. He used his last tube of healing gel, the expensive kind that could fix almost anything. He injected her with medicine to fight infection. He connected her to machines that would watch her heart and her breathing. Hours passed. Han did not sleep. He sat beside her and watched the machines and waited just before morning. Her eyes opened. They were violet, like the color of a dying star. They looked at the ceiling for a moment, then turned to look at Han. He expected fear. He expected confusion. He expected maybe a small amount of gratitude. What he got was cold anger. "You should not have touched me, human."
Ow.
Her voice was like ice. She tried to sit up, but the pain stopped her. She fell back onto the table with a small gasp. "Easy," Han said. "You were hurt badly. You need to rest. I do not take orders from lesser species." She looked around the medical bay with disgust in her eyes. "What is this place? Some kind of primitive dwelling?" "It's my ship. I found you in an abandoned station. You were dying, so I brought you here and saved your life." The Valari stared at him. "You saved me?" "Yes." "Why?" Han did not have a good answer for that. He shrugged. "Because you needed help." Something flickered across her face. Han could not read it. He did not know how to read Valari expressions. Then the cold mask returned. "You are a fool," she said. "Do you know who I am? Someone important based on that crown symbol. I am Yuna, Crown Princess of the Valari Empire, heir to the eternal throne." She paused. "Or I was, until my aunt murdered my family and tried to murder me." Han processed this information. A princess. A murdered family. A coup. "That sounds like a big problem," he said. "It is not your concern. You will take me to the nearest Valari station. You will tell no one what you saw, and then you will forget I exist." Han almost laughed. "Lady, I just used everything I had to save your life. I have no fuel money. I have no medical supplies. I have nothing. So unless you have a way to pay me, I'm not taking you anywhere." Yuna looked at him with those cold violet eyes. For a long moment she said nothing. Then very quietly she said, "What is your name, human?" "Hantewu." "Hantewu," she repeated. The words sounded strange in her alien accent. "You will regret this kindness. Humans always do." Han leaned back in his chair and crossed his arms. "Maybe, but I've got a lot of regrets already. One more won't hurt." Outside the ship, the stars burned cold and distant. And somewhere in the darkness, Valari warships were already beginning to hunt. 3 days passed on the rust bucket. 3 days of silence and tension and waiting. Yuna's wound was healing faster than Han expected. Valari bodies were stronger than human bodies. By the second day, she could walk. By the third day, she moved through the small ship like she owned it. Looking at everything with quiet disapproval, Han tried to ignore her. He focused on fixing the ship's many problems. The engine made strange noises. The water recycler was leaking. The navigation computer kept showing the wrong stars. There was always something broken on the rust bucket. "Your ship is dying," Yuna said on the third morning. She stood in the doorway of the engine room, watching him work. "She's not dying. She's just old. There is no difference." Han wiped oil from his hands. "You know, most people say, 'Thank you,' when someone saves their life." Yuna's expression did not change. "I am not most people, and you should not have saved me. You have put yourself in terrible danger. I've been in danger before, not like this." Yuna walked closer. Her violet eyes were serious. "My aunt, High Commander Bora, she will not stop hunting me. She killed everyone who was loyal to my family. My guards, my servants, my younger brother." Her voice cracked slightly on the last words. "She will burn entire planets to find me. And when she discovers that a human helped me, she will burn your world too." Han felt something cold settle in his stomach. "She sounds like a lovely person. She is a monster. And she has the entire Valari military under her control." Before Han could respond, Gina's voice filled the ship. "Taewu, we have a serious problem." I am detecting 3 Valari warships entering this sector. They will find us in approximately 40 minutes. Han ran to the cockpit. Yuna followed him. Through the front window, they could see nothing but stars. But Han knew that meant nothing. Valari ships were fast. 40 minutes would become 4 minutes very quickly. Can we run? He asked. Negative. Their ships are faster than ours. Their weapons have longer range. Their shields are stronger. Running would only delay our death by a few hours. Han stared at the stars. His mind was racing. There had to be something. Some way out. What about the asteroid field near here? The one in Sector 7? The Kalo Belt. Taewoo, that asteroid field is incredibly dangerous. The rocks are moving at very high speeds. One wrong move, and we would be crushed. But a small ship could navigate it. A big warship couldn't. Theoretically, yes. But the odds of survival are... I don't want to know the odds. Yuna was watching him. You would fly into a death trap to save yourself. To save us, Han corrected. You're on my ship. That makes you my responsibility. Something changed in Yuna's eyes. Han did not have time to figure out what. There's another problem, Gina said. Even if we survive the asteroid field, we do not have enough fuel to reach any safe port. We would be stranded. Han closed his eyes. Fuel. It always came down to fuel. Then he remembered. He pulled out his communication device and entered. Code he had not used in 3 years. The device beeped for a long moment. Then a face appeared on the screen. A human face with a scar across the left cheek and tired eyes. Is that really you? Daejun. I need help. Captain Daejun had been Han's friend during their military days. They had served together on the same ship. They had fought together in the same battles. And 3 years ago, Han had pulled Daejun from a burning wreck when everyone else had left him to die. Daejun owed Han a life debt. And now Han was calling it in. Tell me what you need, Daejun said. Han explained everything. The princess. The warships. The asteroid field. When he finished, Daejun was quiet for a long time. You know what you're asking? Daejun finally said. If I bring my fleet to fight Valari warships, I will lose ships. I will lose men. I know. This will cost me everything I have built. I know that too. Daejun looked at him through the screen. His eyes were heavy with the weight of the choice. She's just an alien, Taewoo. She would never do this for you. Han glanced at Yuna. She was listening to every word. Her face showed nothing. Maybe not, Han said. But I would do it for me. Because if I let her die when I could have helped, I would have to live with that forever. And I don't want to be that person, Daejun. I don't want to be someone who walks away. Daejun laughed softly. It was a sad laugh. You haven't changed at all, have you? Still the same stupid, noble fool? Is that a yes? It's a yes. But you owe me, Taewoo. You owe me everything. Screen went dark. Han turned to the controls and began preparing the ship for the asteroid field. His hands were shaking slightly. He had just traded his future for a chance. A small chance. Probably a worthless chance, your friend Yuna said quietly. He will die for this. He might, and you accept that. Han did not look at her. I accept that some things are worth dying for. And some things are worth letting others die for. I don't know which this is. I just know that I couldn't do nothing. Die. The warships appeared on the screen. 3 silver shapes, growing larger every second. Then, from behind a nearby moon, Daechun's fleet emerged. 7 smuggling ships, old and battered and held together with hope. They flew directly at the Valari warships, guns firing. Oh, Gina said. If we are going to run, it must be now. Han pushed the engines to full power. The rust bucket screamed as it flew toward the asteroid field. Behind them, explosions lit up the darkness as Daechun's ships fought an impossible battle. The asteroids came at them like giants. Han flew between them, around them, through gaps that seemed too small for any ship. His hands moved on the controls without thinking. His eyes saw paths where there were no paths. But the ship was old, and the asteroids were unforgiving. A rock struck the left side of the hull. Metal screamed and tore. Warning lights filled the cockpit with red. Gina's voice cut out mid-sentence, replaced by static Gina. Han shouted, "Gina!" No answer. Another asteroid struck them. Han felt something hot tear through his side. He looked down and saw blood. His blood. Shrapnel from the damaged hull had cut deep into his body. The stars were starting to blur. His hands felt heavy on the controls, but ahead, through the chaos of the asteroid field, he could see clear space. Empty and safe and waiting. With the last of his strength, Han pushed the ship forward. They broke free of the asteroids and shot into hyperspace. Then everything went. Darkton collapsed onto the floor of the cockpit. His blood spread in a pool around him. His breathing was shallow and weak. Yuna stood over him. For a long moment, she did not move. She had never seen anything like this. A lesser being, sacrificing everything for someone who had given him nothing. It made no sense, and yet here he was. Dying for her, Yuna looked at the controls. She did not know how to fly a human ship. She did not know where to go. She did not know how to save him, but she knew that she had to try. Because for the first time in her life, someone had made her feel like more than a crown. More than a title. More than a weapon. He had made her feel like something worth saving, and she would not let him die alone. Han woke up slowly, like rising from deep water. The first thing he noticed was the light. It was soft and golden, not the harsh white of his ship's medical bay. The second thing he noticed was the smell, clean and strange. Like flowers he had never seen before. He was not on the rust bucket. Han tried to sit up, but pain exploded through his side. He gasped and fell back onto the bed. It was a real bed, with soft sheets and a thick mattress. He had not slept in a real bed for years. Do not move. Yuna's voice came from somewhere nearby. Your wound was severe. The doctor said you need at least 3 more days of rest. Han turned his head. Yuna stood by a large window, looking out at a view he did not recognize. A gray sky over gray mountains. A small moon barely visible through thin clouds. Where are we? His voice was rough and weak. A hidden station on a neutral moon. One of the few places in the galaxy where my aunt's soldiers cannot easily reach. Yuna did not turn to face him. There are Valari here who remained loyal to my family. They took us in. Han tried to remember what happened. The asteroid field, the blood, the darkness. How did we get here? I passed out. The ship was damaged. Gina was offline. I flew. Han blinked. You flew my ship. I did not say I flew it well. For the first time, there was something almost like humor in her voice. I crashed into the docking bay of this station. Your ship is currently in many pieces. The engineers here say it cannot be repaired. The rust bucket. It's gone. Han felt a strange sadness at that. The ship had been his home for 3 years. It had carried him through countless dangerous situations. And now it was scrap metal. But you survived, he said quietly. That's what matters. Yuna finally turned to look at him. Her violet eyes were different now, softer, more uncertain. You almost died, she said. The shrapnel cut very deep. You lost too much blood. Human blood. But I'm alive. So someone fixed me. I fixed you. Han stared at her. What? Yuna walked closer to the bed. She moved slowly, like she was choosing each step carefully. Human blood is rare in this part of the galaxy. There were no supplies here that could help you, so I used my own. Your blood? But Valari blood is toxic to humans. Everyone knows that. It is toxic. Yes. In its natural form, it would have killed you faster than your wound. Yuna sat in a chair beside the bed. She looked tired. More tired than Han had ever seen her. But I've spent 11 hours modifying my blood with your ship's medical systems. I removed the toxic elements. I adjusted the cell structure. I made it compatible with your body. Han could not believe what he was hearing. 11 hours? 13, actually. I lost count near the end. But that's impossible. You don't even like me. Yuna was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was very soft. Among my people, there is an ancient law, a sacred law. If someone saves your life, you owe them a debt that must be repaid. Until that debt is balanced, you are bound to them. Your honor, your future, your very soul belongs to them. I don't want your soul, Han said. It is not a matter of wanting. It is a matter of what is. Yuna's eyes met his. You gambled everything to save me. Your supplies, your ship. Your friend's fleet, your life. No one has ever done anything like that for me. Not my servants. Not my guards. Not even my own family. They would have. Your family loved you. But they are dead now. And you are alive. You are the only person in this universe who has proven beyond all doubt that you would sacrifice everything for me. She paused. Do you understand what that means to someone who has been surrounded by lies and politics since birth? Han did not know what to say. He had never thought about it that way. I watched you fall, Yuna continued. I watched your blood spread across the floor, and I felt something I had never felt before. Fear. Not for myself. For you, for this strange human who should have meant nothing to me. You were scared for me? I was terrified. The word seemed to cost her something. I am a princess. I was raised to feel nothing, to show nothing, to be a perfect symbol of Volari power. But when you fell, all of that training meant nothing. I only knew that I could not let you die. The room was very quiet. Han could hear his own heartbeat, slow and steady. So what happens now? He asked why Yuna stood up. When she spoke, her voice was strong again, cold and certain, like the princess he had first met. Now, I repay my debt. You gave me your everything, so I will give you mine. What does that mean? It means I am going to take back my throne, and I am going to do it in a way that no one expects. Her eyes burned with something fierce. My aunt thinks she won. She thinks I am dead, or hiding in some dark corner of the galaxy. She is wrong. I am going to build an army. I am going to tear down everything she has built, and when I stand in front of her at the end, she will know exactly who destroyed her. Han shook his head. That's a nice speech, but you're one person. She has the entire military. I am not one person. I have you. I'm just a salvager. I'm nobody, Yuna smiled. It was a strange expression on her face, like she was still learning how to do it. You are not nobody. You are the human who saved the Volari princess. You are the proof that humans are more than the galaxy thinks they are. She leaned closer. For centuries, my people have dismissed your species. They call you primitive, short-lived, weak. But you are not weak, Han Tae-woo. You are something else entirely. What am I? You are unpredictable. You make choices that no logical being would make. You sacrifice yourself for strangers. You fight battles you cannot win. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You are the most dangerous thing in the universe. And I am going to use that. Han looked at her for a long time. He thought about his ruined ship, his empty bank account, his wounded body. He had nothing left. Nothing except this strange alien princess who seemed to believe he was something special. Maybe she was crazy. Maybe they would both die. Maybe this was the worst decision he had ever made. But he remembered what he had told Dae-jun. He didn't want to be someone who walks away. Okay, he said. Why? Una blinked. Okay, just like that? You saved my life. You spent 13 hours turning your blood into something that wouldn't kill me. That's not nothing. Han smiled weakly. Besides, I don't exactly have anywhere else to go. Una stood straight. Her expression shifted into something Han was beginning to recognize. Determination. Then rest, Han Tae-woo. Heal your body. Regain your strength. She walked toward the door. Because when you are ready, we are going to change the galaxy. She left the room. Han lay in the bed, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere outside, a war was waiting for him. A princess was building an army, and a future he never imagined was beginning to take shape. He closed his eyes and slept, for the first time in years. He did not dream of being alone. 6 months changed everything. Han stood on the bridge of a warship that was not his own, watching the stars through a window 10 times larger than anything he had ever seen. The ship was called the Silent Dawn, a Valari cruiser that had defected to Yuna's side. It was beautiful and deadly, all sharp angles and glowing lights. He was still not used to it. "You look uncomfortable," Gina said. Her voice came from a new device on his wrist, sleek and silver. The Valari engineers had rebuilt her from the data cores of the Rust Bucket. She was the same Gina, just housed in better technology. "You have been staring at that window for 17 minutes. I'm thinking about what?" Han looked down at the planet below them, a small world called Nessa, famous for its shipyards. 3 hours ago, Yuna's forces had taken control of it. The factories that had been building warships for Bora were now building warships for them. About how fast things change, Han said, and they had changed fast in the beginning. Yuna had only a handful of loyal Valari and 1 injured human. But she had something more powerful than numbers. She had a message. The old empire was broken. Bora was a murderer and a tyrant. And there was another way. Yuna recorded a broadcast and sent it across the galaxy. She spoke of justice and freedom and a new kind of empire where loyalty was earned, not forced. She told the story of how a human, a member of the species the Valari had dismissed for centuries, had saved her life when her own people tried to kill her. The broadcast spread like fire. Valari, loyalists who had been hiding, came forward. Soldiers who were disgusted by Bora's cruelty changed sides. And then something happened that no one expected. Humans started showing up. Mercenaries at first. Men and women who fought for money and didn't care about alien politics. But then others came. Engineers who wanted to work with Valari technology. Doctors who wanted to learn Valari medicine. Pilots who wanted to fly the fastest ships in the galaxy. Han became the bridge between 2 species that never trusted each other. He translated not just words, but ideas. He explained why humans made the decisions they made. He showed the Valari that humans were not stupid, just different. And slowly, something incredible began to form. An alliance. Valari and humans working together. Eating together. Fighting together. It was messy and difficult and sometimes violent. But it was also real. Han walked through the corridors of the Silent Dawn and saw things that would have been impossible. 6 months ago, a human pilot teaching a Valari cadet how to read asteroid patterns. A Valari medic sharing healing techniques with a human doctor. 2 soldiers, 1 silver and 1 brown, playing cards in a corner and laughing. It was not perfect. There were arguments every day, misunderstandings, moments where the alliance seemed ready to break apart. But somehow it kept holding together because of Yuna. She was different now. Still cold, still proud, still every inch a princess. But there was something else beneath the surface. A fire that had not been there before. Han found her in the war room, studying maps and reports. She barely slept anymore. Every day brought new battles, new decisions, new lives, depending on her choices. "The Nessa operation was successful," he said. "The shipyards are ours." "I know. I received the reports." Yuna did not look up from her maps. "But Bora will respond. She always responds. We need to plan for her next move." "When was the last time you slept?" Now she looked at him. Her violet eyes had dark circles under them. "Sleep is a luxury I cannot afford. Sleep is necessary. If you collapse from exhaustion, this whole alliance falls apart." Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then, very softly, she said, "I keep seeing their faces. The soldiers who die for me, the ships we lose. Every victory costs lives, Han, and those lives rest on my shoulders." Han walked closer. He had learned over these months how to talk to her, how to push without breaking. "Those lives are not just on your shoulders. They're on all of ours. Every person in this alliance chose to be here. They believe in what we're doing, and if I lead them wrong, if I make a mistake and thousands die, then we learn and we try again. That's what humans do. We fail, and then we get back up." Yuna stared at him, Your species is very strange. I know. That's why you need us. A small smile touched her lips. It was becoming more common now, that smile. Still rare, but real. Before she could respond, an alarm cut through the ship. Red lights flashed. A voice announced that a priority message was coming through. They ran to the communication room together. On the screen, a familiar face appeared. Hi, Commander Bora. She looked like Yuna in some ways. The same silver skin and sharp features. But her eyes were colder, emptier, the eyes of someone who had killed her own family without regret. My dear niece, Bora said. Did you think I would not find you? Aunt Bora.
Oh.
Yuna's voice was ice. I was hoping you would call. I wanted you to see what I have built. What you have built. Bora laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You have built nothing. You have gathered scraps and called it an army. Traitors and criminals and those disgusting humans. Han felt his jaw tighten. Yes, Bora continued. The human, I have heard about him. The pet who started all of this. Her eyes found Han through the screen. Tell me, animal, do you enjoy being used? Do you enjoy being her tool? Han forced himself to stay calm. I'm nobody's tool. I'm her partner. Bora's face twisted with disgust. A Valari princess partnered with a human. This is what our empire has become. Weakness. Contamination. Oh, Yuna said. This is what our empire should have been. Strong enough to learn from others. Brave enough to change. Change is death. Bora leaned closer to the screen. I am giving you one chance, niece. Surrender now. Hand over the human and your other leaders, and I will make your death quick. And if I refuse, then I will declare humanity a threat to the Empire. I will burn every human world, every human colony, every human ship. Your new friends will pay for your arrogance with extinction. The room was silent. Han felt the words hit him like a physical blow. Burn every human world. This was not just about Yuna anymore. This was about his entire species. You would kill billions, Yuna said slowly, because of me. I would kill trillions if it meant protecting the purity of our empire. Humans have always been beneath us. Now they are a disease, and diseases must be destroyed. Han looked at Yuna. He expected to see fear, doubt, the weight of impossible choices crushing her. Instead, he saw something else entirely. He saw rage. You taught me something, Aunt Bora, Yuna said. Her voice was quiet, but every word burned. You taught me that our people worship strength. They follow power. They respect those who win. Do you think you can win against me? I think that in 6 months, I have taken 17 of your planets. I have freed 12 prison stations. I have recruited over 100,000 soldiers to my cause. Yuna stepped closer to the screen. And I did it with the help of a species you call animals. What does that say about your power, Aunt Bora? Bora's face twisted with fury. You are dead. Do you understand me? You and every creature who follows you. The screen went black. Han stood in the silence that followed, his heart pounding. Well, he said finally, that could have gone better. Yuna turned to face him. Her eyes were burning with that fire, that fierce determination that made armies follow her. It went exactly as I planned. She is afraid, Han. For the first time in her life, she is afraid. And afraid people make mistakes. What's our next move? Yuna smiled. It was not a soft smile. It was the smile of a predator. We attack the throne world. We end this war, and we show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity. Han looked at her, this alien princess who had become something like a friend. Something like family? I'm with you, he said. I know, she replied. You always are. The Valari throne world hung in space like a jewel. Silver towers rose from its surface, reaching toward the stars. Great cities glowed with light, connected by bridges of crystal and steel. It was the most beautiful planet Han had ever seen. It was also the most heavily defended. 1,000 warships surrounded it. Orbital platforms bristled with weapons. The planetary shields were strong enough to stop 100. Attacks every tactical model said the assault was impossible. Han was counting on that. The war room of the Silent Dawn was crowded with admirals and generals, both Valari and human. Maps covered the walls, showing ship positions and defense grids. For 3 hours they had been arguing about strategy. "We cannot win a direct attack," Admiral Subin said. She was the highest-ranking human in the fleet, a woman with gray hair and cold eyes. "Their numbers are overwhelming. Their defenses are legendary. And we don't attack directly," Han said. Every eye in the room turned to him. "She expects us to be logical," he continued. "She expects us to attack like Valari. But we're not all Valari anymore. We're something new. Something she doesn't understand." "What are you proposing?" Yuna asked. She stood at the head of the table, her silver armor gleaming under the lights. Han walked to the map and pointed at the palace, located in the center of the largest city. The palace has one weakness: an old maintenance tunnel that runs from the outer wall to the throne room. It was built 200 years ago and forgotten. Too small for soldiers, too deep for sensors. "Bora doesn't even know it exists. How do you know about it?" a Valari general asked suspiciously. "I found it in old salvage records. The company that built it went bankrupt. Their files ended up in a junk station." Han smiled slightly. "Being a salvager has its advantages." Admiral Subin frowned. "Even if this tunnel exists, it would only fit a small team. 10 people at most. You're suggesting we take on the entire palace guard with 10 fighters?" "No, I'm suggesting we take on Bora with 10 fighters. The rest is just distraction." The room erupted in arguments. Officers shouting about risks and odds and the impossibility of the plan. Through it all, Yuna said nothing. She just watched Han with those violet eyes. When the noise finally faded, she spoke. "Who would lead this team?" "I would," Han said. "Absolutely not." A Valari commander stepped forward. "He is human. He has no formal military training. This mission requires a Valari warrior." "This mission requires someone who doesn't think like a Valari," Han replied. "Someone who can improvise. Someone who can handle chaos. That's what humans do. That's what I do." "You could die," Yuna said quietly. "I could, but I've almost died a lot of times since I met you. I'm getting used to it." Something passed between them. A conversation without words. Then Yuna nodded. "He leads the team. I will go with him."
Oh.
Now the arguments exploded even louder. The princess could not risk herself. The heir to the throne could not enter combat. It was madness. Yuna raised her hand, and the room went silent. "This is not a debate. This is my decision. I will face my aunt myself. That is how our people do things. That is how it must end." No one argued after that. The assault began at dawn. The fleet attacked from 3 directions, drawing fire from the orbital platforms. Admiral Subin led the charge, her human pilots flying with reckless courage that shocked the Valari defenders. Ships exploded on both sides, filling space with fire and debris in the chaos. A small shuttle slipped through the defenses. It flew low over the planet's surface, hugging the terrain to avoid detection. Inside were 10 soldiers, 5 human and 5 Valari. At their head were Han and Yuna. The shuttle crashed in a forest 3 kilometers from the city walls. They continued on foot, moving through the darkness like shadows. The maintenance tunnel was exactly where the old records said it would be. Forgotten door hidden beneath centuries of growth. They entered. The tunnel was narrow and dark. Water dripped from the ceiling. Strange sounds echoed from somewhere ahead. They moved in single file, weapons ready. Barely breathing, it took 2 hours to reach the palace. They emerged in a storage room deep within the building. From there, they fought their way upward. Guards fell before them. Alarms screamed. But they kept moving, pushing toward the throne room. Han had never fought like this before. His body moved on instinct, dodging attacks he should not have been able to see, striking at openings he should not have noticed. The training he had done over the past months had changed him. Or maybe the desperation had. Beside him, Yuna was terrifying. She moved like water, like wind, like death itself. Her blade sang through the air, cutting down enemies without hesitation. This was what she had been trained for since birth. This was who she really was. They reached the doors of the throne room together. Han kicked them open. Inside, High Commander Bora waited. She sat on the throne, dressed in armor that looked like liquid shadow. Behind her stood her personal guards, the most elite soldiers in the Empire. She did not look surprised to see them. "He actually came," Bora said. She sounded almost amused. "I thought the reports were wrong. I thought no one would be foolish enough to try this." "You don't know humans very well," Han said. "I know them well enough. They are stupid, emotional, weak." Bora stood, and the shadows around her seemed to move with her. "But you, human, you are something special. You have ruined everything I built. You have turned my own niece against me. You have made her soft." "I'm not soft," Yuna said. Her voice was steady. "I am stronger than I have ever been. You just cannot see it, because you don't understand what true strength is. And what is true strength? Sacrifice, loyalty, love." Yuna stepped forward. "You killed my family because you wanted power. But power without purpose is nothing. It breaks, it falls, it loses." Bora's face twisted with rage. "I will show you what power is." She moved. Han had never seen anything so fast. Bora was across the room in an instant, her blades slashing at Yuna. The two women clashed, metal screaming against metal. The elite guards rushed forward to help their commander. Han and the team met them. The battle was brutal. Han lost 2 of his soldiers in the first minute. Then another. Then another. The elite guards were better trained, better equipped, fighting on ground they knew. But Han's team was fighting for something more than duty. They were fighting for a future. Han took a blade, across his arm, and kept fighting. He watched a Valari soldier on his team die, saving a human one. He watched a human pilot tackle a guard to the ground and hold him there while another finished him. They were becoming something new in the fire of battle. Across the room, Yuna and Bora were locked in combat. They moved too fast for Han to follow, their blades blurring in the air. But even he could see that Bora was stronger, older, more experienced. She was pushing Yuna back, step by step. Han's last soldier fell. He was alone now, wounded and exhausted. The remaining guards surrounded him, their weapons raised. "Stop," Bora commanded. The fighting paused. She had Yuna pinned against a pillar, her blade at her niece's throat. "Look at your human Yuna. Look at what your foolishness has brought him." Han stood in the circle of enemies, blood dripping from his wounds. He looked at Yuna and smiled. "It's okay," he said. "It is not okay," Yuna replied. Her eyes were wet. "I brought you here. I led you to this. No, I chose this. Every step of the way, I chose this." Han looked at Bora. "You don't understand that, do you? Choice. Sacrifice. Doing something because it's right, not because it helps you." Bora sneered. "Pretty words from a dying animal, maybe. But you still don't get it." Han took a step forward. The guards tensed. "You think you won because you have the power, but you've already lost. Because everything you've built is built on fear, and fear breaks. It always breaks. Enough." Bora raised her blade. "Say goodbye, niece." She didn't see Yuna's hand move, a small blade hidden in her armor. Drove upward into Bora's chest. The High Commander stumbled backward, shock on her face. She looked down at the blade, then up at Yuna. You hit a weapon," Yuna said. She rose to her feet, picking up her fallen sword. "We always have a backup plan.